Should be good to go. Let me double check our streams.
All right, guys. Second episode of Making Hay with JRA every Tuesday and Thursday, 12 to 1. Today, junk lovers unite on Valentine's Day. For this particular episode, we're going to be talking about how to set your prices for your junk removal business. As always, if you've got any questions at all, any questions whatsoever, we're live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Throw them in there. Aaron's going to read them out to me, and we'll answer any questions you have related to pricing or something else. We got any viewers yet, Aaron?
Yeah, it looks like we got 3 on.
Awesome. Guys. Appreciate everybody watching. We're going to get started. So, one of the largest issues that junk removal has, when people get into junk removal, and we did the exact same thing. You look around, you see 1-800-GOT-JUNK's prices, you see College Hunk's prices, you look at Junk King, Junk Luggers, anybody else in your area, and you're just blown away. It's like, holy crap, look how much these guys are charging. And what you think is that you can get in, and you just think these people are just ripping everybody off. You think they're ripping all their customers off. So what happens is you think, all right, well, I can take a significant chunk of these customers just by charging a lot less. It's completely incorrect. There's a reason Got Junk, College Hunks, Junk King, etc. charge what they do, and that's because there's a lot of expenses that you have to consider when you're running a junk removal business. And you deserve to get paid well. You deserve not only to make enough money to live comfortably, but you deserve excess to be able to go out and kind of have freedom in your life and do what you want to do when you want to do it. So one of the first things you must do before you set prices is you've got to get the right mindset. You got to get around this mindset where you value your time, because your time is worth a significant amount. You've got to value your worth. You're worth something. You've got to value that. And then you deserve to be able to make this a full-time gig that, again, not only provides you with the minimum amount to live off of, something you can live off of, but actually excess, something above and beyond where you can really build a great life. So we got any questions yet?
Yeah, we got a hello from Lakeside Junk Removal, and we got Sonoma Strong Hauling and Junk Removal. Says, I love this channel. Lee Godbold is the man. I took all of his advice, and now I'm doing awesome with my junk removal business. He inspired me to make my own channel. And we got Junk and Jack Flash chiming in here as well, saying Junk and Jack Flash Inc. Hello, Junk and Jack.
Hey, guy. Am I live now? Okay. All right. Thanks, Lake City, Junk and Jack. It's great. Sonoma Strong. I'm happy to hear y'all doing excellent out there. Hope y'all find this particular episode valuable. So, one of the things you've got to do, one of the very first things you've got to do is you got to consider all cost. So what are the expenses that you have in your junk removal business? And this is what you really need. I mean, obviously you're going to have your disposal fees. You got fuel. You got labor. I mean, y'all know that. You know each of those three right there, plus, whatever else you're spending money on at that given moment. What gets people is the stuff that's the money they're spending without really spending it. What I mean by that, every time that truck's rolling down the road, you're going to have a tire that's going to go out sooner or later that you're going to have to replace. You've got a transmission. That thing, every mile it rolls, it's 1 mile closer to dying. And that transmission, depending on your vehicle, I mean, depending on what you're rolling around in, if you're in a pickup truck, it might be $3,000. If you're in a Suzu truck, it might be $5,000. That engine going down the road, you're going to have to repair it one day. All of that you've got to really, take into account for. Damage to customer's property that hasn't happened yet is going to happen. You got you got insurance, you've got your office computer, it's going to go out. You got office supplies you got to pay for. You've got advertising costs, whatever it was, even if it's just a $5 Craigslist ad that you got out to that particular customer, you've got that cost. You got to cover it, and the only way to do that is to make it up with your pricing. And guys, you got taxes. You got taxes. You better be paying taxes. If you ain't paying taxes, the only junk you're going to be collecting is your cellmate, and they call him Big John. There's a reason they call him Big John. So you don't want to be collecting the junk from Big John. So you got to be reporting those taxes and getting those taxes paid. What we got? Any questions? All right. So one thing that a lot of people do not consider is the opportunity cost. And what I mean by that is, what could you be doing other than hauling junk? So some people have got, they came from a job, they were making $30,000, $40,000 a year, maybe $60,000, maybe $100,000 a year. And they go off and they do junk removal. And that is an expense, because your opportunity cost is you're missing out on that other income that you could be having. You have to be able to make up for that missed income. So you can't go, it doesn't make sense to go from a $70,000 a year job to a junk removal company where you have cheap rates and you only can make 30 or 40K. I mean, yeah, maybe you have some, you feel like you're in control. You feel like that you're, that you're working for yourself, and there is some value in that. But guys, I mean, you're making half of what you were before. You've got to charge enough that, at least so you have the potential over a period of time to reach the level you were at and then surpass it. Because you shouldn't make a horizontal move. You should be going into junk removal to make a vertical move. So one of the things that a lot of people do when they get into business and they get in junk removal and they're setting prices, and they get to customers' homes and they go to actually quote these jobs, is they almost feel bad for the customer. So this is common when you're brand new. You look around, let's say they've got some cardboard boxes they're looking to get removed. Let's say you quote the job at $350. That's what it should be, is $350. A lot of people feel like, that's too much money, I need to cut these guys a break. That's completely incorrect. A lot of the customers you're doing jobs for actually have more money than you. You feel like you're doing them a favor, and that makes you feel good, or you just feel guilty for charging the price you need to charge. Guys, that's the price you need to charge to live your life, so you can pay your bills and have a little bit of excess. And by charging more, if you're a charitable person, that's great. It's great to be a charitable person. By charging more and making more money, you can actually
Let's see. Try now.
All right, testing.
All right, we're good.
Okay. So what part did they lose us at?
It was just a few seconds ago.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So where I was going, guys, and if you already heard this, I apologize for repeating it, but it is important enough. Your customers, if junk removal customers are hiring you, they've got stuff to get removed, they got stuff they need hauled off and junked, that means they've got good stuff. They've already got good stuff. They are not charity cases. Do not feel like you need to cut somebody a break in this business. Very, very, very few customers that hire a junk removal company are an actual charity case. Charge enough, get your prices up enough, quote where you should be. That way you've got some excess money where you can actually put money towards somebody that actually use a helping hand should you be a charitable person. Any questions at all? Or are we good to go roll on the next thing? All right, guys. So, hey, appreciate everybody watching today. Make sure you like any questions you have. Please let us know. If you dislike what you're seeing, dislike it. We're going to keep rolling right along. We're talking about how to set prices for your junk removal business. What we're going to do now is kind of get into the details. And one of the very first things is understanding how the majority of junk removal companies do charge. Most companies, kind of the industry standard, is to charge based on the volume of space what you have actually takes up inside of your truck. So, or trailer, whatever you're using, whatever you need to figure out your cubic yardage. And if you can go on Google, type in cubic yard calculator, might be the easiest thing for you. You put in your height, your width, and your length. That'll give you your cubic yards. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get out there and you're going to look and see what your competition's doing. So we'll actually pull, if give everybody comment if you want us to actually pull some of your competition pricing, and we'll actually help give you some recommended pricing for your particular company. Just put your zip code into the comments on here. We might actually pull up some competitor sites and see if we can give you some input on what to charge. Okay, before we get going on that, don't get too large of a vehicle. Some people like getting a large truck because what they feel like is they can get more jobs into a box truck, a larger vehicle, a 26-foot box truck or whatever. And though that is the case, the downside is on your volume rate, your top load is going to be so high, it's going to scare away a lot of customers. So when you're explaining how you charge, a box truck might be a $1,500 full load, whereas a Got Junk dump truck might be $750. And the box truck might hold 40 cubic yards, a Got Junk truck holds 15 yards. But it's too hard to educate a consumer that has no idea how the service works on why your 1,500 is actually cheaper than Got Junk's 750. You don't want too large of a vehicle here. And you guys, you want to quote the majority of your customers up front. You know, they deserve to have an idea of what the price is going to be. What some people do is some people go and they explain to customers how the pricing works, but they don't give them a firm price up front. If at all possible, and there's some jobs you can't, we're going to talk about that it's just going to be impossible to give an exact price up front. But the majority of your jobs, you should be able to look at the amount of stuff, know what the volume is going to be, get them a price up front, get that price approved, and you're going to have a very happy customer at the end of that job.
All right, so we got a question coming in from Lakeside Junk Removal. Lee, let's hear your opinion on jobs that have very resellable items. Did an estimate on a garage cleanout that had an easy $600 item in there. Should you bid lower or stick to your guns?
Yeah, you got to stick to your guns, 100%. So you know your business model in junk removal is not on the resale, and some customers think that, but it's not. Where you make your money is by charging for that removal. The resale of it has got some expense in it as well. You know, you got time and you got to meet people, and I mean, and that while you're meeting people, you could be missing out on junk removal income. Stick to your guns, charge full price. If the customer wants to negotiate, well, you always know in the back of your head, okay, I got a little cushion here because I can make a little extra money by the resale. Guys, what also happens is as you get larger, it gets harder and harder to resell items because you're so busy. You know, you're having to take resources off of doing a junk removal pickup to actually selling a particular item. And you need to have crews that are trained and willing. You know, it's extra effort on their part, so they have to be willing, they have to be incentivized to actually take these items to the side, bring them back to a warehouse, get them listed for sale, so on and so forth. So when you're new to the business, where you're trying to just scrape by and make as much money as you can, resale is going to be a lot more of an important part of your business than as you grow. But when it comes to, if you're already on site, you see the stuff and you quote the guy, let's say you quote the guy at $1,000, you know there's $600 worth of resellable stuff there. You know, if the guy wants to negotiate and come down a couple $100, you know, well, heck, you know, I'm gonna make that back on the resale end of things, for sure. Any other questions? We're good right now. Okay, so that's a great question though. Again, our business model with Junk Doctors, we do very little reselling. Junk Luggers does a fair amount, I think. Other companies out there do a great job at it. Are we leaving money on the table? Yeah, maybe. Maybe we are, but you know, I'm also a very big fan of picking just a couple things to focus on, put all of your focus on that. Our focus is on getting as many junk removal customers as possible. As we get larger, it might make more sense to, in turn, maybe do a little of our own transfer station where we're in our own little thrift store where we're actually selling some of the stuff we get, but we don't do that yet. So, there are a couple instances when you need to charge extra. So this is a big confusing point with this. An area of confusion is a lot of people think it's a volume-based rate, all labor included. What I mean by a lot of people is that, I mean, that's what Got Junk says. They say all labor is included. And it's actually not 100% true. And there is stuff they charge extra for. There is times they charge extra labor. So Got Junk actually has a pricing model that at least most of the franchises do. I'm not sure if it's a system-wide thing, but I know a lot of franchises actually say, we'll do a full load within 2 hours. Anything over 2 hours is X per hour on labor rate. Could be $100 an hour per labor rate, $50 an hour per person. So they do charge extra for extremely labor-intensive jobs. You need to charge extra anytime you're doing something that's going to cost you money. So if you're removing televisions or refrigerators, those items cost you money. You need to not only charge whatever your expense is going to be as far as what you have to pay a recycling facility to get rid of that stuff, but you also need to tack on a little bit of an extra charge because those types of items you're going to have to take to someplace different. You're not going to be able to take it to your landfill. So there's going to be additional time and expense to get items to a particular site. You need to charge extra for that. When there's a great potential to damage customers' home, you need to charge extra for that. So if you're doing a really, really heavy item, it's a very tight staircase. It's got a turn in the middle, so you get to a platform in the middle, and then it does like a 90-degree or 180-degree turn or something like that going down those stairs. And it's an older home, so it's very narrow. There's a good possibility you're going to scrape up some walls here. There's a possibility somebody might get injured. You might scrape floors. Anytime, if you want to call it hazard pay, you can. But anytime it's extremely heavy, difficult item, there needs to be a surcharge for that because it needs to be worth it to you for you to take on that risk. The reason you charge extra for that is hopefully you do 10 jobs or 20 jobs or 100 jobs without damaging the customer's home. But there is going to be some point, every job you do, you're one job closer to actually providing damage to a customer's home. So you want that extra charge to have built up that account, the bank account, where you actually have the money to pay to repair that customer's home. Hopefully you don't have to go through insurance. Every time you get through insurance, it's just going to jack your rates up.
And we got Ricardo chiming in with hola.
Hola. Hola.
Said hi back.
Is that now, which Ricardo is that?
Junk removal service, DFW.
Oh, DFW. What's up, Ricardo, man? Thanks for watching. All right. So when you need extra people, anytime if you do a job, it's something real heavy and you got to get extra help, you got to charge extra. Generally, it's an hourly rate. So if if it's going to be, you include 2 people for your regular volume rate, do a $50 an hour, something extra for the third person. Whatever you want to choose for your market, because that is costing you more. Obviously, you need to charge more to get extra people out there. You probably want to charge a little bit extra than that too, because most likely, unless they rode with you. So if they're coming in a different vehicle, they're going to have to be paid to actually come out there. So you're going to have to charge extra for that. Job that's real labor intensive. There's a lot of labor. If there's really small stuff that you're having to scoop up, you're having to bag up. If you're using trash bags, which majority of jobs you don't need trash bags. Majority of jobs, you fill up a trash can, carry the trash can out to your truck, dump it in your truck, save that trash bag cost. But for some reason you're having to bag stuff up, you need to be getting extra to make up for those trash bags. But anytime there's small stuff, you're having to bag things up, clean things up, you got to charge extra for it. The way we do it is $25 per every quarter load of bagging or real labor intensive stuff. So if it's a full load, it's going to be $100 more.
Got a question? Yeah, Ricardo was chiming in with, how about if you're just strong and don't need help?
Well, strong people are hard to find, you know what I mean? You ought to try, a strong person ought to be getting paid more. So if you're real strong and don't need help, you should be charging more. Anyway, they're few and far between. So, moving on, bed bug jobs. If you want to take on bed bug jobs, you need to charge extra because you want these Tyvek suits. We do bed bug jobs. A lot of companies don't, but there's a fair amount of revenue we get, and bed bugs are becoming more and more prominent. So we put on these Tyvek suits. You go to the painting aisle at Lowe's or Home Depot. You purchase these full body suits. They cover your head. They go all the way down. They cover your boots up. You throw them away at the end of the job into the back of the truck. We charge $100 for bed bug jobs. We're not going to chance bringing bed bugs home. Another quick little tip on bed bugs. Heat kills bed bugs, so when you're done in the day, if you've been doing a bed bug job, put your clothes in the dryer first. To make sure you kill all the bed bugs, then wash them, then dry them again, not the other way around. And rush jobs. If you have a customer that's got to get something done immediately, you've got the option. We don't always do this, but you've got the option, and they're normally willing to pay for a rush fee. Could be $75, $100. A little extra income there for you accommodating their schedule and getting the job done that very day.
And we just got a hello from Clutter Brothers LLC. Got some emojis going on. Got some trash cans, some strong arms, and we got Junk Guy CA. What is up, Ivan? How you guys doing?
Hey, Ivan, Clutter Brothers, glad you're watching. Appreciate everybody watching. Hey, please, if you're not a subscriber to this channel, subscribe. Give us a like. Give us a dislike if you dislike it. Ricardo might dislike it. That's all right. Just let us know how you feel. So, step one on this, and the most obvious, is check what your competitor's pricing is. Am I able to use this computer back here?
Yep.
Let's see. You got a separate camera? You gonna pan over to that? What you got?
It's not ready yet.
Okay. So our second camera ain't ready, so pan over. Is this computer in the way?
Nope, you're good.
We're good. All right. So it used to be, there were two, well, it used to be back when we started, all of your franchises actually let you see their pricing online. Everybody has gone away from showing pricing online. In College Hunks, up until about a couple days ago, they used to allow you to see what their pricing was online. They updated their site, got a new site the other day, and you no longer can see their pricing online. And matter of fact, going off a little bit here, College Hunks is actually not allowing you to book online anymore. You fill out this Get Started form, and it actually gives them their information, and then they turn around and they actually contact you. Kind of reminds me of someone like Home Advisor. You think you're scheduling an appointment online, but it's actually, they're going to call you to get you scheduled. So I'm not sure what they've got going on there. But you can no longer see College Hunks pricing online. You'd have to call them and Got Junk to get pricing. Junk King, however, still helps us out. So has anybody put any zip codes in so we can actually check pricing in their local area? Has anybody done that?
No.
Give us some zip code, guys.
Ivan or
Clutter Brothers, somebody like that. Put us some zip code in so we can check pricing. I'm gonna do one in our local area right here. This is Cary, right outside of Raleigh. Let's see what Junk King's charging.
All right, we got 3 zip codes that just came in. Thanks, guys. And we also got some smack talk. Ivan saying we have a pricing estimator on our website, and Ricardo said, "Hey Lee, can you kick Ivan off the chat board? He's always cracking jokes at me on my live feeds." So we got. We'll start with Tony Horton. We got the first zip code is 29910.
29910. Am I talking now? Can they hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So 29910. Let's see. And I'm just going to throw a random phone number in here. Test@test.com. Select a date. Whoop, 29910. Junk King might not be in that area. Let's see. What area is that? So that's apparently in South Carolina. They must not be in that area of South Carolina. We got any other zip codes?
Yeah, we got 33409. That's Jeremy Smith.
33409. Let's see if they're here.
And Tony Horton said it's Bluffton, South Carolina.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let me select a date. There we go. Okay. So we're going through there. You know what? I'm misusing the Junk King stuff. All right, Junk King's actually got a pricing thing. So you go over here to pricing estimator. This is how College Hunks used to have to start the booking process. What was that zip code again, Aaron?
We got Jeremy Smith, 33409.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, they make it a little bit easier. Okay, so you can do it by the truckload or enter in these random items. We're going to do it by the truckload. They say their trucks are equivalent to 6 pickup truckloads. So what we generally do, if you go to this full load right here, in your particular area, I always use the highest one. In your particular area, are they able to see that? Is that focusing?
Yep.
Okay. So the estimate at the top right is their full load rate is $578. If you want a half load, we knock off a couple of these pickup truck loads. Their half load rate is $288. And their minimum load is going to be like $89. So let's get this back up onto a full load here. So $578 on the high end. So Junk King in most markets is going to be actually fairly cheap. When we set our prices, we are more expensive than Junk King in our area. So they just are always a cheaper model. I don't know if they're that much better at recycling stuff, but I know that they've got a lot of national contracts that probably helps out. So don't feel like you have to be cheaper than Junk King. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to call one of your competitors. Let's see if we can make this work here. Let's see, 800 got junk. 800-468-5865. Let's hear from Mr. Scudamore.
It's a great day at 1-800-JUNK.
And Ivan was also saying they underbid here as well.
If you were calling to have your junk hauled away from your home, press 1.
Let's see, what Scudamore got? Let's see if they actually answer.
Hi, it's Lisa from Legal. Just letting you know, all calls are recorded for quality assurance purposes.
Thank you, Lisa. Last time we got placed on hold, they called us back like 2 hours later. Ridiculous.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK. You're speaking with Hilal. How may I help you?
Hey, I'm in from out of town. I'm helping my sister clean out the home. She's never used a service like yours before, and she's probably got about 2 full truckloads of stuff because I've used stuff before back in North Carolina. Can you help me? I need to let her know the rates. Can you help me understand what your pricing is for this particular area?
Yeah, sure. I can help you out, sir. May I get the zip code at that location?
Yes, it is 33409.
That was 33409.
That is correct, yes.
Alrighty. And what are the items exactly that you guys wanted to get rid of, sir?
Yes. So to be honest with you, she's moving out of here. She's got a bunch of furniture,
like couches, beds, tables,
yes,
chairs, like what's involved, have an idea at least even.
Electronics, just bags and boxes of stuff. Again, I've used you before. I would guess it's at least 2 full truckloads. It's a pretty good size
Okay.
load.
Okay. All right. Just household junk.
Yeah.
All right. And everything will be like around the home, like is it scattered around the home, like in the garage, first floor, second floor?
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
Okay.
Can you help me understand what you charge per full load,
sure.
since I kind of have an idea?
Yes, sir. I'm just loading up the rates here. I'll go over that.
Thank
with
you.
in a
Appreciate
moment.
that. Mm-hmm.
And I'm just loading the rates here. Like, did you guys have like a time frame in mind when we were thinking of doing a removal?
Next couple days. Yep.
Okay. And so I'll refresh your memory, sir. It is all based on the volume or the space you use in the truck. So we will send out the 2 professional team workers out there. They'll do all the work, heavy lifting, loading, disposing. Minimum charge in the area is $148. A maximum of full truckload, 14 cubic yard dump truck, box truck. If you fill it up from bottom to the top, is $668.
Okay.
So in between the minimum and maximum are 11 different price points. But what we usually do, sir, my team will come out there to assess. They'll take a look at exactly what you guys have and then present you with the quote on site.
Okay.
It is a no obligation estimate that you do get. From there, if you guys only give us a thumbs up and you're happy with the price, we'll start the work same day right then and there.
Awesome. Sounds good.
For the rest of this afternoon, sir, we are booked up. Tomorrow I have 2 spots. I have 11 to 1 or 12 to 2. Or we can come out Saturday. I have a team in the area. What time works best for you?
Awesome. I got one other question. She's got TVs. Do you take TVs?
Yes, we do take TVs, sir. So,
awesome.
If it's computer monitors or TVs, there is a $15 environmental fees if they're less than 25 inches. But once they come out, they'll give you an all-inclusive pricing.
Awesome.
And as well, the only things we do not pick up, sir, are like just toxic or hazardous.
Okay.
Gas, oil, paints, chemicals. We don't pick up. Everything else we'll be able to take.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Let me relay this over to her, and we'll be giving you a call right back. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, well, we are booking up quickly. There's a few spots. If you like, we can tentatively hold a spot for you guys and then call us back once you have a better date and time, sir. And we'll be able to make changes on our end. There's no penalties if you guys want to make changes. I
appreciate that. We'll be calling you right back, though. Got Junk's where it's at. We'll call you back.
All right, no problem.
Thank you. Bye-bye. There you go, guys. They probably think some guy from North Carolina has got a bunch of sisters all over the country, because we make those calls all the time when we're getting into an area. So 33409, where is this? 33409, West Palm Beach. Hanging out with Trump down at Mar-a-Lago. Okay, so the Got Junk in that area is a 148 minimum. They are a 668 full load, and that is a $15 and they have $15 fees on televisions. So here's what we do. One thing she did say, which I found was interesting there, God Junk used to advertise their trucks at 15 cubic yards, 8 by 10 by 5, I think it's like 14.4. And now she actually said they're 14 cubic yards. So it's interesting to me they actually, I don't know if the truck got smaller or if they just, decided to round down rather than up. So 668 divided by, I'm going to use 15 because, 15 is what they've used forever. So that's 44.5 per cubic yard. So all you need to do then, guys, is just figure out what your truck size is. You base it off, you see that at 44.5, let's say you've got an 18-yard truck. That would be a full load rate of $800. Let's compare that to Junk King. This is pretty, let's see. Did I use the same zip code on Junk King? Yeah, that's 33409. So Junk King's full load rate, is this right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, 578. So Got Junk is $800 on a full load. Junk King, 18 cubic yard truck, 578. Big difference right there. So you're going to want to be somewhere in the middle of that with your pricing. We've got a great video. We need to get this graph up on the actually available online for people to use. But we did a video a while back about how to set your junk removal pricing. This graph right here, what I then suggest doing, are they seeing this? This graph, if you take whatever you decide you want your full load to be, and then you do, so if you want to figure out what your half load is, 67% of whatever your full load rate is. So in this case, let's say you price your full load at 625, somewhere right in the middle. So your half load, 625 times let's just say 0.65. Gonna be somewhere around $400 for a half load. Your quarter load, 0.4 times, was it 625? Somewhere around $250 for your quarter load. And your quarter load you might want to lower a little bit more than that. These numbers are they're going to become a little the bottom numbers are going to become a little farther off when you have a more expensive price. This was based off a full load rate of $490. So I mean you're probably not going to want to charge what's 0.34 times 625. That's 212. That might be a little much for a sixth of a load. You might want to be closer to 185, something like that for a sixth of a load in that market. So, I mean, you got to mess around with your numbers some, but that's a great way to get started. What you then need to do, and you can pan the camera back to me if you'd like, Aaron.
Yeah, we're on you.
Okay. What you then need to do is you got your competitors' pricing. Once you actually get out in the field, you start operating, you're going to see how customers react. I can promise you if you're advertising the right places, they're going to be good with it. And then you need to be watching your numbers. So you need to understand what your expense percentages are on the amount of revenue you're getting. And your disposal fees need to be around somewhere between 8 and 10%, maybe 11 if you're in a high area, area with high disposal fees. And if they're not within that area, you're either not quoting the jobs accurately or you need to raise your prices some more. Your advertising percentage, depending on what year you're in business, we want to see 20, 25% first year, 20% second year, 15% third year. Your labor percentage needs to be somewhere around 30% if you got 2 guys on the truck. It needs to be a little under 20% if you're on the truck. So, you need to understand your rates, make sure your profit percentages are there and adjust accordingly. Here's what I'm going to tell you is pricing, it really hardly ever matters. Guys, we increase our prices once every year, at least once a year, sometimes twice. We're probably about to do another price increase. We have never, not once have we ever had any negative pushback on pricing. Not once. It used to be scary as hell to raise prices. We used to think about it and think about it for months on end and just be like, and then you change prices. You might be a little slower right after you change it. And then, you're worried, was it pricing? Do I need to lower my pricing back down? Guys, people don't know. People do not know what junk removal costs. As long as you're somewhat in the ballpark of everybody else, just raise prices. There's more. I woke up before. It's like, I want to raise prices. I want to make some more money. I'm going to raise prices. And literally, that's all the thought that went into it. We come in, we let everybody know, all right, we're raising prices today. We raise prices on the website. We raise prices on you know, make sure the people at the call center know they raise prices. Never once have we had any negative pushback. If you answer the phone, if you're advertising where you need to be, where people are finding you early in the process. If you're way down the list on Google, if people are finding you after they've called 6 or 7 other people, you've got price shoppers. But if you're appearing up high where you need to be, you're going to get a lot of people that are not shopping price if you know how to take a phone call. This lady on Got Junk, that's the best call center person we've ever spoken with with Got Junk. Last time we did one of these calls, they put us on hold and then they told us they had to call us back within the next 2 hours. They did not call back until 4 hours later. Absolutely ridiculous. I'd be appalled if I was a Got Junk franchisee that happened. I imagine they've gotten busier and they have a lot higher of a call volume. I'm going to give them some slack because everybody makes some mistakes. That was a great call. What she did in this call is she got my time frame and she got the area. She figured out what we had, and then what you'll notice is she explained pricing and went immediately to trying to get me to schedule. She gave me a couple options. When I said, I'll call you back, she talked about how they were, well, actually, let me back up. She gave me a few options and she said, which date would work best for you? So what happens is that gets the customer in the mindset, let's go ahead and get this job scheduled. You know, they're no longer thinking about price. They've been giving an option. And most customers are going to, when they're asked particular questions, they're going to follow. You know, they're not going to lead, they're going to follow. So if you prompt them, they're going to follow. They're going to say, all right, between Saturday 10 to 12 or Friday 1 to 3, which slot works better? I'll take that Friday 1 to 3. Guys, you got to get great on the phone. Is Ivan, guys, is he still on?
Yeah. So Ivan's still on, and Ivan's got a few comments, and then we got a couple questions.
Am I still talking right now? Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about Ivan right here. Junk Guys was our very first customer with Junk Removal Authority. We had been in business, I don't know, a couple weeks, and well, yeah, so like a few weeks anyway. I can't remember what it was, but you know, he was our very first customer with Junk Removal Authority, and when he first got started, the way he was explaining pricing on the phone was kind of confusing customers. So we worked with Ivan, and his booking percentages went way up on how to handle that call. Your sales skills on the phone and you answering the phone is a lot more important than what you charge. If you're good on the phone, you can charge just about anything and you're going to get customers to schedule. Get good on the phone though. Don't concern yourself with pricing. Get pricing where you can make money and just get good on the phone. You're going to have a successful business. What kind of questions and comments we got?
We had one from back when you were on the phone originally. Supreme Empire Junk Removal said, Jesus, $660. Supreme Empire, I think you probably need to take your prices up. And then we've got a question from Junk Removal. Why don't you offer dumpster rental?
Is that Ricardo?
No. This is just junk removal. No picture or anything.
Am I talking now? I'm good. Okay. So as far as the comment about the 660 full load, you know, good for Got Junk. They can actually charge that. You know, that's incredible. People knock on Got Junk. You shouldn't aspire to be like Got Junk because I mean I can tell you there's a lot of millionaires that have out there that have become so off of a Got Junk franchise. What I've noticed is every time we raise our rates, our local Got Junk franchise does too. I swear they're paying attention. I don't know if it's just coincidence or not. Okay, dumpster rental. I am not against dumpster rental. However, I'm against you taking your thoughts and your actions and what you pay attention to, and you splitting it in too many different directions too soon. So there's a graph that I recently saw, and I thought this was pretty cool. And I'm going to show this on the camera here in just a second. So this graph on the left is how the majority of people, this came from a book. It was called Essentialist. I did a book review on it. I know a lot of people probably didn't watch it. I think it's pretty good. Those book reviews are pretty good, but see if you can get focused in on this where people can see this. Is that focused?
It will be in a second.
Okay.
All right, that's about as good as we'll have.
Okay, so hopefully everybody can see this. This graph right here on the left, this is how the majority of people operate right here on the left. They're off in a million different directions. They're doing a ton of different things. and then their action is being spread in kind of like almost like rays coming off a sun in a million different directions. When you focus in on just one thing and you get really good at that one thing, that arrow goes straight up. So my issue is people trying to do too much too soon as far as trying to offer too many services all at once. My issue is when somebody gets into junk removal, they get a little bit of business on junk removal and they think the only way they're going to get busier with junk removal is that they are going to start renting out dumpsters. Add an additional service to rent out dumpsters. Guys, there's a bunch of money to be made in junk removal. Get to the point you're at $1 million, $2 million a year, whatever maybe your market doesn't support that. Maybe it's $750,000 a year in your market. Get to that point where you got a great junk removal business that's more or less kind of running without you. You know, you got the phones getting answered, you got crews doing the jobs, you've got extra time, then you can bring on dumpsters. What are they doing? Staring at my chest right now? Yeah. I got to get on my camera, man. All right. So then at that point, you can bring on dumpsters. Or if you want to start with dumpsters first, that's fine. Build up your dumpster company before you add in junk removal. They're similar, but they're not at the same time. You're going to split your time. You're going to become average at two things rather than really good at one. Become really good at one, become excellent at one, then take on the other. My issue is splitting the time. In full disclosure, we are now considering offering dumpster rental for junk removal. But you know, we're doing a couple $1 million a year, and we have the resources to be able to do a really good job at it if it's something we decide to take on. What we got?
All right, we got Dave Ledick from Junk MD coming in on Facebook, and he's saying biggest takeaway from 10X conference.
So it's just extremely inspired by going down there. I mean, obviously it was very motivational. You see a lot of super successful people. I mean, I look at myself, I think of myself as a pretty successful 29-year-old. And then I go down there and there's 25-year-olds that are making a lot more money than I am, that have built a company a lot larger than I have. So it also, you know, one of the big things about him is he's about getting out there, getting known, you know, taking massive action, and that's huge. So and then also just aiming high. You know, all this is stuff I know. It's just really from down there. I met some great people. It was a great networking event. Seeing Steve Harvey was awesome. That's one funny dude. Damon John was great. You know, you just see all these successful people, you see exposed to that, and that's awesome. I won't say there's any one thing. ClickFunnels, David, I know you know about ClickFunnels. I can't see how to make it work on junk removal, but that was, you know, we're going to try it with JRA. I've got my mother-in-law's a realtor. We'll probably try on ClickFunnels for that. Check out ClickFunnels. That's pretty cool. Russell Brunson, ClickFunnels. If y'all figure out how to make it work with junk removal, let me know. But it's just a really neat, but just a great event overall. Thanks, Dave.
And then we got a question on YouTube from Tony Horton. How can you find out what your market is able to support as far as how much you can make?
There is not a set formula on that other than just getting out there and trying it. Here's a few things that I will say. I've seen junk removal business wildly successful in super competitive large markets. I've seen junk removal business in a small area of South Carolina do over $500,000 a year with very little competition. Margins that make our margins look like peanuts because he has so little competition, his acquisition cost is so low. No matter what area of the country you're in, at least I won't say no matter what. If you're out west and you're in an area that with a population of 50 or 400, you're probably not going to be able to make junk removal work. But if you're in an area that has at least 100,000 people, just by doing junk removal, you can probably have a pretty successful business. Still do Google AdWords. Google Ads, the nice thing in Google AdWords in that area, you probably have very little competition. Your competition in a small area is normally going to be, you got Bubba out there with his pickup truck and trailer that also does landscaping and does power washing and does handyman repairs, who also happens to haul junk when he wants to. You know, he'll show up when he wants to. If you take a really professional, if you become really professional, you advertise professional, you got a professional website, and you're actually out there and you're being found and getting known, it's my opinion in most markets throughout the country you can be successful. I can't tell you how successful you're going to be though. I don't have the formula for that. You just got to get out there and get started. In large markets, do not be afraid of competition, But if you're going to get into a highly competitive market, you better be willing to spend some money and advertise hard. Otherwise, it's going to be tough for you to make it. Any other questions? Okay, guys. So, today's episode has been on how to set your prices for your junk removal business. The main take you need away from it, you need to think about is one, you should be increasing prices at least yearly. Your expenses are going up. You should be increasing prices at least some yearly. Don't be afraid to increase prices. Every time we've increased prices, we've never had any pushback. And make sure you're not getting into this business and your main thing is I'm going to charge less than the next guy, because what's going to happen is the people that are actually going to do business with you are going to be the ones that have called the more expensive companies. They settled on you. You're going to go do that job. You're going to make very little money because you're cheap. And if you build up a customer base with cheapos, all you have is cheap customers, then you're not going to be able to raise prices. So there is a catch to me saying that we've never had any pushback on raising prices. That is a little bit of a fib. When we first started and we were super cheap, those customers, most of them quit using us after we raised prices. That was because we were reaching cheap customers. When we started advertising to a clientele that was not as cheap, then at that point is when we really started to being able to raise prices without any pushback. So you've got to get the right customers if you're going to make it in this business. You deserve it. Don't be cheap. If you're cheap, you drive the cost down. For all of your cheap competitors, it's a race to the bottom. The other thing is you want to separate yourself from you do not want to be advertising. You don't want customers that are price sensitive. Any last questions? We're ready to kind of wrap this thing up.
I'm not seeing any more questions right now, guys. If you got any last questions, let us know right now. Otherwise, we're going to be wrapping it on down.
Yeah, last questions. We'll give you about 30 seconds. Last call. While we're waiting on questions to come in, guys, everybody, thank you for watching so much. We want to give you as much free content as we possibly can. We also have got some great services we offer at Junk Removal Authority. Check us out at JRA.com. Our AdWords management is second to none. We got one guy, all he does is manage ads campaigns for junk removal companies. We do search engine optimization. We build websites. We've got a call center. If you're sick and tired of having to answer this thing all the time, or you're committing the sin and you're not answering it, you can use our call center. If you miss calls, at Forward Star Call Center, we answer the phone, your company's name. We got a scheduling system now that's almost out. Once that's done, we'll be able to book jobs. We'll know your availability. We got a lot of great things, a lot of great services here at JRA. What you got?
All right, we got a couple of questions coming in. We got one from Jeremy Smith. What are you having to spend on AdWords to get a job?
Depends on your market. We've seen it as low as $30 per job. We've seen it as high as $120. So, it's what I tell people on AdWords, it is not necessarily, it'll bring you short-term jobs. It will not necessarily bring you short-term profits. So it is a long-term deal. Remember, every customer you touch, every single customer you do a job for is a potential repeat customer, possibly a contract customer that's going to use you weekly or monthly. It's a potential referral, and it is a potential review, which is going to lead more people to review you online. AdWords, again, it's going to bring you short-term jobs. It's not necessarily going to bring you really high short-term profits. It's going to bring you long-term success and profits and independence side.
All right, Ivan is asking, how do you train your employees to be better at sales?
Yeah, so every Friday we do a Friday morning meeting and we try and cover that. We cover scenarios, we kind of role play. So, I act as the customer, they're the salesperson, we go back and forth. We just teach them the main thing on their end as far as being good at sales on the truck, you have to quote those jobs with 100% confidence. You can't waver at all. So you walk right up and you say, Miss Smith, took a look at everything you have. You got a full load. Looking at $660 today. We're ready to get started. If you are, we just need your signature right here. We'll get going. If you approach that same customer and you go back and forth on how much it is and you say, I think you're looking at a full load. It's something like $660. Are you sure you want to do this job? If you approach it like that, then the customer is going to be a lot more likely to negotiate. 100% confidence, 100% sureness on your part, and there's a good chance that same customer that is going to he and haw when you're not confident is going to go ahead and forward with it when you are.
And We've got 2 more last comments here. Lakeside Junk Removal says, great talk. Thank you, Lakeside. And Jeremy Smith says, as a reply, you don't have to be 100% better than the other guy, just 1%.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I mean, and they chose you, they found you. So, I mean, you know, one thing with David Leddick, I don't know if he's still on, he asked about the 10X Growth Con. One of the things one of the sayings I really love from that is, your product or your service doesn't have to be the best, you just have to be the best known. And that's 100% correct. You got to get the word out. Any other last comments, questions, concerns? All right, guys. Hey, appreciate everybody watching. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday. This is Making Hay with the JR and the A, 12 to 1 Eastern Time. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can always call us 919-617-1975. That is 1975 on those last 4 digits. And we'll be back Tuesday, 12 to 1. Please make sure you tune in. Thanks, guys.